From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE.
It's a big midday here on LA with incredible world exclusives about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021, as a deal has reportedly been hatched for the inclusion of a monthly stimulus check in the fourth stimulus reconciliation budget bill. The world exclusive delivered on this channel as staffers from House and Senate leaders, Democrats, tell viewers of this channel that they are near completion of the inclusion of that stimulus check provision, but nearly have now finished it. That it's been drafted up, that it's months of checks running for 6 months, $1,000 a month, after the first month of $2,000, and the duration is 6 months. We'll go over what advocacy gets you and why you have to keep on advocating down to the finish line for this as well. We'll be cutting to the first 645 pages of that reconciliation budget bill in the advance of the remaining pages being released potentially on Monday. We'll be going over what senators and House members are doing today because they are editing the final pages, putting the final touches on the bill. These statements are confirmed by the congressional record. We'll go over the checks in cluster number 1, 2, and 3. Checks for seniors, workers, individuals, bikes, cars, and also hazard pay. $51,000 of MSCs as well. We'll be cutting it to cluster number 3 with an additional $107 billion coming out to your cities and counties and coming to you. And then a big surprise, as $13 billion is coming out to your cities, counties, and states for rent. The nonprofits are paying big sums of money less than 24 hours after viewers have reached out for rent. We'll be going over the debt ceiling limit and what it means and what it doesn't mean for you, and what Mitch McConnell's trying to tell you it is, because it's just all fairy tales. And then we cut to the big exciting details of stimulus. It's a big noontime. I got so much exciting details because the world exclusives start here, and the bacon's here. Bob Bacon's in the room. It starts on noontime LALATE. Hey, good noontime, everybody. Hope you're having a beautiful day across the globe. It has gotten beautiful here in Southern California. The heat wave's gone and everything is perfect. Even the bacon is here. All we need is electric surfboards in this fourth stimulus recon, and I'm good. In this recording, we'll go over the world exclusive delivered on this channel over the last few days. And now staffers tell viewers this channel that the deal has been hatched. The inclusion of a stimulus check provision for a House bill that will be debuted potentially as early as next week. They are in session, meeting today in private meetings, finalizing language of that whole recon bill, which, according to staffers to viewers of this channel, will be monthly checks of $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter, running for 6 months. Advocacy starts here and continues here. You need to advocate down to the finish line. In this recording, I'll explain to you why it's important to advocate even before the bill is released, even before after the bill is released. Kuhn, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Casey, and Wyden telling viewers of this channel they got it in there. Jolapal, AOC, Omar, and Pelosi reportedly the lead negotiators and the drafters of the language, but you need to keep on pushing and advocating. We'll go over cluster number 1, who has a lot of checks in there, including hazard pay for people across the board. Also, money for bikes, cars, and vehicles. We'll go over cluster number 2 that has more checks in there as well, including money for $1,700 a week. You have to stay home. Cluster number 3, checks for seniors. And then we'll be cutting to the big surprise as an additional $13 billion coming out to your cities and counties and states. And then we'll be going over the hilarious jokes of Mitch McConnell telling you that the debt ceiling limit has to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. It's like butter. He's a smooth operator. He's a criminal operator. Oh my goodness. We got all the deliciousness. It's noontime, and this is LALATE. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. This family is the family that got a second stimulus check for the American people. I came up solely with the idea of inclusion of a stimulus check in the CR. It became law, and that was the $600 stimulus check. And now the viewers of this channel have been fighting tooth and nail and advocating for you as a family to get the inclusion of a monthly stimulus check. And now I got the world exclusive. So subscribe. Also like this video and consider becoming a member. Coming up later today is 1 o'clock afternoons LA. The show will take you there automatically when this video is over. And then the 3 o'clock afternoons LA, it's brand new. Then evenings LA, and then shows at 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 and 11 o'clock tonight. Let's cut right to the details. Several staffers from Pelosi's office tell viewers of this channel that she was the lead negotiator for the inclusion of a stimulus check provision that she had been negotiating with the House and Senate Democrats over the last week. In fact, Lorica got confirmation of much the same from Bob Casey's office. And that Pelosi was near complete as of Monday, this last Monday, on the finalization negotiations. $1,000 a month after the first month of 2000, 6 to 12 months. Pelosi was trying to go higher, according to many different viewers of this channel from staffers of Pelosi's office. She was trying to get $1,400 to $2,000 a month. So was Liz Warren, but couldn't get 12 months. And couldn't get $1,400 to $2,000 a month, got $1,000 over 6 months after the first month of 2000. By the end of the week, several staffers from Pelosi were telling viewers of this channel that they're near finalize, that the deal was hatched, including Dragon, Paul, and others, and that it was being written up by AOC Pelosi, Jalapal, and Omar. Indications from the congressional record today say that the House Democrats are meeting today, not on the floor of the House, not on the floor of the Senate, that they're actually meeting in private conference meetings in their office and chambers today, Saturday afternoon, and also Sunday afternoon to finalize the final markups of the reconciliation budget bill. By all accounts, while they're not being specific to us, it looks like the budget bill is finished written, that they're all only just going over final edits, and that they represent to us, these Democratic senators and Democrat House members, they represent to thousands of viewers of this channel that have made the phone call and advocated that the MSC is in there. An incredible achievement if it is, because we have been pushing since day one. Let's go over the first 645 pages of the reconciliation budget bill. I'll go more about this MSC checks in just a second, but the first 645 pages is incredible. It's important to understand that the recon, you don't have to be qualified for anything based upon COVID. Nothing in the recon is about COVID. So it's if you're qualified for. And the first 645 pages is cluster number 1. And second, I'm going to go over cluster number 2, which is 12 more checks, and cluster number 3, which is additional checks. The first 645 pages has checks for hazard pay, grants for college students, repair the home, bikes, cars, vehicle money, and then also $51,000 of MSCs and money for carrying the elderly and caring for the children. Let's start with the hazard pay. Hazard pay. Wow. There is no place on the planet that has been a bigger advocacy for hazard pay than here in this family of viewers. I made over 300 videos, 500 videos in 2020 advocating for hazard pay, and now will be a lifetime fixture of the American public. They're going to take the Earned Income Tax Credit, an old tax code, the EIC, modify the language, expand the eligibility so more essential workers qualify for this. For every year that you work as an essential worker and you're in this zone of eligibility, they're going to give you more money than the old EIC. It's incredible, great news. Then a big one, a big surprise, up to $4,000 a year if you care for an elderly person at home. A lot of care providers may qualify for this, and up to $4,000 a year if you care for a young child. This was Richard Neal, head of Ways and Means, who actually was the lead person on releasing the 645-page recon first pages of the bill. He got that in there. Then money for college students. Grants directly to them, grants to the universities, and making the Pell Grant tax-free. What about the home? There's money in there as well. If you live in a low-income community, the home repairs, the federal government will give you money for those home repairs, incentive checks. Wow. Then $51,000 of monthly stimulus checks. The CTC, the Child Tax Credit, is currently a law under third stimulus, meaning that your prepaid money for that child, 17 to newborn, don't have to pay it back, up to $300 a month. Well, they're going to make that lifetime. How does this work? If you give birth to a new child and that family is a low-income household, you'll get up to $300 a month. How does this calculate? Here's the example. For every year that that child and that family is a low-income household, from newborn to age 18, you'll get up to $300 a month every month over 18 years, which amounts to $51,000. What about money for bikes, cars, and vehicles? It's in there as well. Electric vehicles, electric bikes, and electric cars and trucks made by the U.S. auto manufacturers. First, a bicycle. If it's electric, the federal government give you up to 15% made by a U.S. auto manufacturer. Then, an electric vehicle, up to $7,500 of the purchase price for personal use. If the vehicle is electric and for business use, or electric truck for business use, even more money. Well, there you go. Let's cut to the exciting details of what's coming up in a second. I'm going to go over the next cluster, cluster number 2, which has checks of up to $1,700 a week, and then cluster number 3, which is checks for seniors and workers. But first, let's take a detour for just a second for third stimulus. This is a big shocker. Third stimulus has an additional cash infusion going out to your cities, counties, and states for rent, utilities, and mortgage. $13 billion of it. It started going out last week. It's from Treasury, and it's part of the $48 billion allocation under third stimulus. This is huge. Treasury is happy to provide the state and local governments with more money for rent assistance. It's laying everywhere, whether it's a red, blue, poor or rich state or county or city. I'll go over more about this in a second. And the other big surprise is the nonprofits are paying rent and utilities and things like that within less than 48 hours. All right, let's cut to cluster number 2. Those are big checks. And there's no less than 12 of them. And the very first one pays a lot. It is family leave and medical leave. Family leave is if your wife is pregnant. Medical leave is if your child broke their leg. How much does it pay? Under third stimulus, it's supposed to pay $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or less more per year. Well, let's split that in half. $35,000 a year income, that would be $800 a week. Let's split it in half again. Let's say you make $15,000 a year, then you would get up to $400 a week. Wow. There is no less than 12 checks in the second cluster. Checks for building up childcare programs, checks for household tax credits, checks for seniors at Medicare benefits, including dental checks, vision checks, hearing checks. I'll be going over more of those checks in a second in third cluster. And then weatherizing your home checks. Yes, that's a second check for your home. Weatherizing your home. Definitely need it when the Purple Hawks are on the roof, especially if the roof is Fox News. Great visual. So weatherizing your home is if that home is in a tornado area, fire zone, or hurricane alley. Great stuff. And then we got another round of checks for education. Checks for pre-kindergarten, free pre-kindergarten, then tuition-free community college across the United States. This is huge, especially as one class is really very popular right now across the entire country. What is that class called? It's called What the Hell is LATE? I don't understand it. 101. It's the foreign language class to understand that strange accent that people in Los Angeles have. You can take that class so you can no longer worry about what my French is. There we go. And then other checks in there are green energy. Wow. We're going to get to cluster number 3 in a second, but first, let's understand what's Congress doing. Congress, according to Congressional Record, will be meeting Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon at about 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We'll be going into meetings to do final edits on the recon bill. You know what that sounds like. It sounds like it's already written. It's the final edits. The negotiations were near complete, Pelosi's office told Paul Dragon and other viewers in the middle of in the end of the week. They also told Mark at the start of the week that they were near finalization of the negotiations. By the end of the week, it looked like the negotiations were a done deal. By all accounts, by the end of the week, it suggested that they had finished the negotiations on the insertion of the stimulus check, IRS, MSC, and that AOC, Pelosi, and Jalapal were writing it up. Now with the Congressional Record saying that they're doing the final edits on the recon bill this weekend, that means we could see the full recon bill this coming Monday or Tuesday. Now, let's cut back to cluster number 3 with another world exclusive about that, $107 billion found from this channel. Well, cluster number 3 has a lot of checks in there, and one of them got a turnaround. First, free school meals for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, free internet checks, checks for farmers, checks for clean energy, checks for workers, and checks for seniors, dental checks, vision checks, and hearing checks. First, that world exclusive. A week ago, on a Friday, the Senate parliamentarian ruled one of the provisions in this third cluster cannot belong there. It was a check that didn't concern you. It was a check for the judiciary. After that news broke, and the news was not covered anywhere really else, I went into my notes my old notes about how much each item was, and I found it. That item is $107 billion. Guess what? That $107 billion is getting reallocated to you and programs for you. Incredible, great news. There's two checks in this third cluster that the president likes and I like. This third cluster is the president's cluster. They're going to get these checks in there. They're just going over the final wording of it. Why do I like these two checks and the president does? Because they're instant savings to you. The first one's cheaper prescription medication. For example, let's say you go to pharmacy today to fill a prescription. You take two $20 bills out to pay for it. Well, this becomes law shortly thereafter. You may only have to take out one $20 bill. And immediately, savings of your $20 bill in your wallet. Then the other check is instant or automatic. You don't have to pay for anything anymore. What is it? Free internet. Federal government is going to give fortunes to cities and counties and states. They can offer you free internet, so you no longer have to pay for internet. And those free internet companies, well, Sirloin's hoping that there's one named after him. T-Mobile. T-Mobile. Username and password for the Wi-Fi connection. The password is Blaine66 and the username is Scarf911. So there we go. Later in this video, we'll be going over more about what is going on with this final step. As a deal has reportedly been hatched for the inclusion of an MSC, but why it's important to advocate down to the finish line. It's important to advocate as WR started the advocacy on this channel no less than 8 weeks ago, calling up Senator Coons, Chris Coons, and advocating for a stimulus check. And Coons' office saying yes. But it's important to advocate before the bill is released, after the bill is released, and even before the vote and after the vote. I'll explain to you that in the second half of this video coming up. Then we'll be cutting to fifth stimulus shortly. That raises your benefits up if you're on SSI and SSDI. We'll be going over the big exciting details as the nonprofits are now paying money within 24-hour turnaround times. And the third stimulus money you can still get, and I want you to get. And then we'll be cutting to the debt ceiling limit. A lot coming up. As the second half of this video heats up, I'll be back with you in 60 seconds with all this and more world exclusives as Noontime LA continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now, direct from Santa Monica, live on air as Noontime LA continues. We'll go over more about that deal being hatched for the inclusion of an MSC, monthly stimulus check, IRS. So says Democratic staffers from both House and Senate. We'll go over what your advocacy needs to do starting this Monday because we are not over the finish line yet. Schumer, Pelosi, Casey, Wyden, Jalapa, AOC, and more saying it's in there, but you still got to advocate. I'll explain to you what's at issue. Then we cut to the big exciting details of the big actual cash infusion of $13 billion out to your states and cities for third stimulus. We'll be cutting to fifth stimulus for just a Brit. It's the raise your benefits up if you're on SSI and SSDI. And then we cut to the big exciting details as the debt ceiling is looming. But does that mean anything for you? Of all the incredible details as Noontime LA continues. And with that, subscribe. At 400,000 subscribers, I want you part of this incredible family. This channel was able to get a second stimulus check for American people, as this channel came up with the idea here when I created the idea of CR for stimulus. The inclusion of a stimulus check. Now we're on the cusp of doing it again. And I'm going to show you how you have to advocate down to the finish line. Subscribe. Also like this video and consider becoming a member. Meantime, coming up next is Afternoons LA at 1 o'clock. This video will automatically take you there. Let's go to the big surprise as the president dedicated additional sums for rent. What happened? Well, basically, of the $48 billion that was allocated for rent, utilities, and mortgage under third stimulus, the last $13 billion had not gone out. Now it has. And this is huge. This is money for you. It's landed every city, county, and state, whether it's red, blue, rich, or poor. Let's go over that rent. The rent money has doubled on this channel, the utilities has tripled, and the SNAP has gone up double as well in the last 30 days. Viewers of this channel are getting big sums of money across the board. It was a month ago that the numbers look like this for rent. Wow. 20 to 27,000. Well, guess what? Viewers are now getting $40,000 for rent, like Jen and other viewers over $30,000 last week. Remember Mark? Remember $51,000 Mark? Well, guess what? His brother-in-law, he helped get $15,000 for utilities. Let's compare that to this. It's a 300% increase from what it was just a month ago. And Mark's brother-in-law, $21,000 for SNAP. Nearly a 400% increase for SNAP from just a month ago. Get a pen, paper, and cell phone ready because I'm going to show you how to get this big sums of money. And if you've gotten more money before on this channel, I'm going to show you how to get additional sums today in this video. We're going to go over 6 places to reach out to. Listen to the 6 places. They have different eligibility. They have different pots of money. If one says no, reach out to the next. Second, listen to the keywords I say in this video. And third, get ready for those nonprofits. All right, here are the 6 places you're going to reach out to for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and also other items. Your city hall, your city house authority. Your county hall, your county house authority. Your state hall, and your state house authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. There you go. Let's go over the 6 again. City hall, city house authority. County hall, county house authority. State hall, and state house authority. Now, here's what's very important. Members, which I hope you are one, the link is under the video, are delivered daily, Monday through Friday, a newsletter at about 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And in there, I now include the announcement from Treasury about the $13 billion. I want you to read that before you make the phone call. If you've gotten money for rent before, I want you to go get more money. If you haven't gotten it because the place said they're out of money, now they will have the money. After you read that article, I want you to reach out to them and say, have you got to the money? If they say no, ask to be on a waiting list. If they don't have one, ask if you can call the next day to make sure you pounce. The money will land there, 100% guaranteed, but it's not going to be there forever. Then the utility companies. Reach out to all your utility companies. So if you have 5, reach out to all 5. They have different pots of money. And then the nonprofits. Wow, this is success. First, a viewer wants me to tell you that St. Vincent de Paul's rent, very quick to get approved, and the viewer got approved within 1 day and got money. United Way, same thing, another viewer wants you to know. Another viewer got a brand new furnace and a refrigerator and a window fix from another nonprofit. Now, what are the nonprofits and why are they important? The nonprofits pay for money differently than the federal government. They're not the federal government. They also pay for different pots of money. Here are the 5 nonprofits that are also featured in the newsletter from members nightly. United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charity, St. Vincent de Paul. I feature the nonprofits in nearly 500 videos in fall 2020, early 2021 called Purple. And in those videos, I show viewers how to get big sums of money. What do the nonprofits pay for? First of all, you don't have to be behind on the rent. And they pay for things differently and for different items that the federal government never pays for. In addition to rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, they also do things like food, homelessness into shelters, clothing, small appliances sometimes home repairs, sometimes nominal home repairs. There you go. Let's go over those 5 nonprofits again. United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul. Meantime, if you need help with holiday Christmas gifts, reach out to Salvation Army now because they start doing it in early October. The next pot of the money is the money for SNAP. You get from Department of Agriculture. Reach out to them. And the average payment is going up. Everyone's payment's going up. Mark's brother-in-law will go from $21,000 to $26,000. Why? Department of Agriculture is raising everyone's benefits up in October, an average of 25% lifetime. Now, this is causing massive confusion. Why? Because there's two letters. People are getting the first letter and thinking and seeing the first letter and freaking out. The first letter says, hi, your benefits that were raised up from January to September are ending. So now you're going down. The letter doesn't mention there's a second letter in the mail coming right behind it. So people are freaking out because they don't know there's a second letter. The second letter says, hi, your benefits are going up an average of 25% lifetime. So don't worry, there's a second letter and your benefits are going up in October. All right, then we go to money back from unemployment benefits. States are paying back your unemployment benefits due to computer error. Average payment is $2,000 to $5,000. Reach out to your state. And then the refund check from IRS due to the overpayment of unemployment benefits, that is anywhere from $1,200 to $2,000. Margaret got it, Carter got it, Michael got it. If you've gotten any of these sums of money, post it in the live chat right now, because when you do, you inspire other people. Finally, if you haven't become a Purple Hawk, consider becoming a member today. Daily, I personally write the newsletter sent out Monday through Friday about 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time through the YouTube community page and the LALATE alerts that break down the big money under first, second, and third stimulus you can get. I want you to get all those sums of money. Here's a personal message from me to you. First, if you've gotten money before, like you're a Nisi or an Art Sullivan or Mark, any of these viewers, I want you to get more money and carry it as far as you can into the future, into 2022. If the place that you got money from before campaigning other money, then reach out to the nonprofits. You can get money from different locations. Next, I want you to get the utilities as far as you can in the future. I don't want you to presume these monies will be in the fourth stimulus because rent may not be in fourth stimulus. Utilities may not be in fourth stimulus. Also, it's a great time of the year to get the money from the nonprofits now because we're only in fall. As we go into the winter months, the nonprofits get swarmed because it gets cold. People need help with heating oil bills and things like that. This is a great time right now to get the money so you're covered all the way into the spring of next year. Next, one thing I didn't say early in this video, I want to say right now, is that whether you are a member or not a member, as soon as fourth stimulus becomes a law, this channel will be focused on showing you how to get each of these items. So if you hear something and say, I want to know how to get this, I'm going to show you how to get it. They're not law yet, but I'm going to show you how to get all those items. But for everyone else, consider becoming a member. The newsletter is now revamped and including more information, including the nonprofits and that Treasury statement. And with that, let's go into the final 15 minutes of this video with the big exclusive starting right now with the deal. Democratic senators and House members tell viewers of this channel that they have really, at this point, finalized the deal after nearly 2 weeks of negotiations among Senate and House Democrats that were confirmed by Pelosi's office to viewers of this channel, Bob Casey's office, and other offices, that there would be an MSC. No less than a dozen different offices from congressional leaders told over 1,000 viewers of this channel that there would be an MSC provision in there. And those negotiations are believed now done. And that Jalopal, AOC, and Pelosi wrote it up and have now been finalized in the language. Let's understand, however, you need to advocate down to the finish line. And the advocacy started on this channel 8 weeks ago. 8 weeks ago, I told viewers, as a family, we got the second stimulus check for the American people. There was going to be no check in a continuing resolution budget bill. I came up with the idea. People thought I was bonkers. They said it doesn't belong in there. I say, I know it doesn't belong in there. Push. And 8 weeks ago, a lot of people were talking about monthly stimulus checks, but I showed viewers that the Democrats had a bill on the House side. The Democrats on the Senate had written letters. Even the House Ways and Means Committee had written that they're doing it. I said, you need to advocate and push with the people who said they're going to do it. It's important to understand that LALATE is different. LALATE has the ability in a 24-hour window to deliver 20 hours of programming covering the details of a stimulus check, recon, $3.5 trillion bill. Broadcast media doesn't have that availability. They don't have that available programming slot. So I can go into detail that you're never going to see anywhere else. And the advocacy was critical, and it started 8 weeks ago. When I said pick up the phone and advocate, and WR did. He picked up the phone and called Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, Delaware, Joe Biden's old confidant, advocated, said, I need it. And Coons' office said, yes, I'm inserting a monthly stimulus check provision in there. World exclusive at the time. But some people said it's just one senator. Then things changed 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, I was reporting exclusively that I thought that the House side would be writing up the bill. You now know that I was correct. And that the House and Senate were both negotiating provisions together. That has also been confirmed as well. And that Bernie Sanders was a key ingredient in this whole negotiations. We also now know that's true. Bernie Sanders, remember, at the time in July, I told viewers, had gotten the recon procedural law for you. He had done that by first meeting with people on both the House and Senate side, Democrats, including every Democrat, to agree upon a $3.5 trillion. They said they agreed, and that's how the recon procedural happened. But 3 weeks ago, Bernie Sanders delivered a critical quote. I told viewers there's a Senate Budget Committee and a House Budget Committee, and Sanders is chairman of the Budget Committee on the Senate side. He said to the broadcast media the following: unlike prior Senate budget chairmen, when doing a budget bill and writing it up, I like to get out amongst the people. I said, if you listen to those words, he's saying he wants you to advocate to him what you want included. I said, your window of opportunity just open. Pick up the phone and call. And who called? Margaret did, Lynn Glenn, and brother Joshua. At that time, I showed viewers the importance of advocacy. But I'm so impressed by viewers how far advocacy has gotten on this channel in less than 3 weeks. In the last 48 hours, 2 advocacy stories are absolutely overwhelming. Margaret saying she picked up the phone and advocated so vigorously to explain her situation that she broke down and cried in tears on the phone, and so did the staffer when explaining why she needed this monthly stimulus check. And then this viewer, whose name I'm withholding for privacy concerns, said, I advocated so strongly on that phone to that senator's office. I lost my husband during the pandemic. I'm raising 2 teenage daughters during the pandemic, and I've had 10 surgeries during the pandemic, and I cried down in tears. That's the true embodiment of advocacy. Advocacy looks like explaining why you need something. I need it. My family needs it. My community needs it. I need to tell you what's going on with my family. This is what's going on with my town, my church. And that's what brother Joshua did. 2020 volunteer to the community page who got thousands of people big money for rent and utilities in fall 2020. He picked up the phone and advocated to Bernie Sanders' office 3 weeks ago. And Sanders' office said yes. Monthly stimulus check, $1,000 to $1,400, 3 to 6 months, but needs to hear your support behind us. And that was our call to action. The other call to action for us was people that said, but it's just Bernie. What about the other senators? I said, pick up the phone and call every Democratic senator you can call. And the floodgates started with Donnie. Donnie heard my plea, and he was the very first to call after brother Joshua, and called up Bernie Sanders' office and said, I need it. I got to tell you why I need it. I need it for my water bill. I need to pay for stuff. I need to get ahead. I need to progress. I need it for my water. I need it for everything. My city needs it. And they said, Bernie Sanders' office saying, yes, I need you're going to get a monthly stimulus check. Hurricane Tina in Evenings LA last night said, I don't want to post publicly what I said in my advocacy, but boy, did I advocate. And she did. And Sanders' office said, stimulus check, it's coming, MSC. He's putting it in there. And then Carolyn said to Sanders' office, listen, people are losing their homes. They're losing everything they got. They got to get this in there. And Sanders' office saying, yes, he's inserting that provision for that MSC into the forced stimulus recon. The push continued with viewers like Yaya and others who really went to the mat. Then Yaya calling up Ron Wyden's office saying, hey, we need this. And we also need SS200, and Ron Wyden's office saying he's doing it. But then things took another step, went to another level when Will showed us, don't make 1 phone call, make 3 phone calls. And we'll call Schumer, Sanders, and Warren. It was the Elizabeth Warren conversation was the most telling. Warren said $1,400 to $2,000, 6 to 12 months, her staff. And that's exactly what Pelosi's staff said to several viewers late this week, that Pelosi and other Democrats like Warren tried to get more money but couldn't get it. Then Lorica really gave us a bombshell. 2 weeks ago, Lorica called Bob Casey's office, and he said they're in negotiations right now on the inclusion of the stimulus check. It was at that point that I said something, and I got lucky because I didn't know the impact of what I was saying. At that point, I said we had the senators all saying they're going to do an MSC IRS check for you. Schumer, Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Casey Coons. I said, focus on the House members. I said, focus and call AOC Jayalapal, Omar Pelosi. At that point, I didn't know why that was actually going to be much more important than I thought. What I did not know was that Pelosi was the number one negotiator on the inclusion of the stimulus check. I did not know that Pelosi was trying to go higher, that Pelosi was seeking $1,400 and 12 months of checks, like Liz Warren, who's trying to do up to $2,000 a month over 12 months. I also did not know that ultimately the writers of the provision would be AOC, Pelosi, Jayalapal, and Omar. Ironically, we got lucky. And it's at that point I've been advocating for viewers to pick up the phone and call those 4 House members. Paul was the first one who did. Paul called AOC's office, not this Friday, but the Friday before that, and AOC's office confirmed she is inserting a provision for $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000. At the time, she was saying 6 to 12 months. Then Janice did the same thing. Janice called Jayalapal's office. Jayalapal's office said, yes, $4,000 for stimulus check MSC is going in there. It was Mark that got Pelosi's office on the phone earlier this week. That was very important. Pelosi's office telling Mark that negotiations are nearly complete and it's going to be $1,000 a month after the first month of 2000, 6 to 12 months. Then Paul and Dragon getting Pelosi's office on the phone by the end of the week saying, and Pelosi's office confirming it's $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000, 6 months. Pelosi's trying to go higher, couldn't go higher, is trying to go longer, couldn't go longer, and that the deal is basically at this point hatched, and that Jayalapal, Omar, Pelosi, and AOC are writing it up. And there you go. That is the face of advocacy. But advocacy does not stop today and does not stop tomorrow. You must do yourself a favor, your community a favor, and this channel a favor. Go on the computer or the cell phone and write down AOC, Omar, Pelosi, and Jayalapal's phone numbers and get ready to call them. You need to advocate before the bill is released on the House side, after the bill is released on the House side, before the vote is on the House side, and after the vote is on the House side. Why? Because we are not over the finish line until we're over the finish line. This last week, we have confirmation from House Ways and Means, Richard Neal, that provisions that do not concern us, that concern tax codes, were in there and then taken out. And other things that weren't in there were added in. There was an inheritance tax that was in there, it was taken out. There was a provision about Ron Wyden about taxes that's reportedly been added in. Now, you have to push because there's always the opportunity for them to not put your thing in or the opportunity for them to take it out. You need to advocate down to the finish line. The good news is that advocacy you have been doing has been working. And with Jayalapal, AOC, Omar, and Pelosi all wanting it in there, all writing it, and part of the push to even go big and bolder, the House vote will be very quick. Now, let's turn to the other parts that you need to know. Fifth stimulus. First, it raises your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits. Then applies a new benchmark inflation. This is fifth stimulus. Still going for a vote later this year. It will not impact your wallet until maybe the end of the year, and then more next year. They're going to apply a new benchmark. That new benchmark's inflation. First, they're going to remove the asset cap, remove the income cap, and then remove the marriage penalty. How does this work? I've been saying inflation is going to go to about 5% in December. Let's do the analysis. First, we'll raise your benefits up. And if inflation is 5%, that means you'll go up another 5%, not just next year, but lifetime. Then the debt ceiling limit. Wow. Debt ceiling limit? We've had this actually 3 times before on this channel. 2 times before, we missed the deadline. Why do you need to know this? Because it will happen this week, and I'm predicting it's going to miss the deadline. So let's go over the 3 things you need to know. And because we've confronted this before, I know your questions, and I have your answers right now. First set of questions. Checks. Are they going to come on time? They are. In the month of September, all your checks will go on time. If you are a Social Security recipient gets monthly checks. You're on benefits and get a regular check monthly, or you're a federal employee or you're armed services, your September check will come on time. It is very common, almost a regular occurrence, that they miss the debt ceiling limit by a few days. It's also relatively common they miss it by a week. It is not common they miss it by 2 months. This issue of whether your checks are coming on time is not an issue in the month of September. They're coming on time. It only becomes an issue if this debt ceiling limit thing goes into December. If it goes in December, it may become an issue. It is rare that it goes 2 months. It is almost once in a generation that it goes 2 months. It is almost a regular annual occurrence. It goes a few days overboard. And it's also very common it goes over a week overboard. No concern at the moment that your checks come late. They're not. Next, the budget bill and the recon and the debt ceiling limit. Mitch McConnell, to quote BTS, he's smooth like butter, criminal undercover. He just thinks he can tell you whatever lie he can tell you. Well, guess what? It ain't. Even the conservative media is calling him out on this one. The debt ceiling limit has nothing to do with your recon. Why? Because the debt ceiling limit is debts to pay for existing laws that created debts. The recon is not a law yet. It's post-it notes and drafts and pieces of paper on people's offices' desks. It's not a law. It's not even a finished bill yet that has actually been printed and published to the American people in the congressional record. It's not a debt. So yeah, the thing that the budget, the meeting not able to meet the debt ceiling limit, guess what's not going to get paid? Trump stuff from 2020 and early Biden stuff. That's what's not going to get paid. That's what the law is. Finally, time schedule. Does it impact the work schedule of congressional leaders on your recon, this debt ceiling limit? No. Nancy's been very good on this. She got the debt ceiling limit passed and into law, passed out of the House 2 days ago. It's over in the Senate. She already had her staffers get it done. It's written and passed. It's over in the Senate. So the House no longer has to even work on this debt ceiling limit. They're only working on your recon. That's all they have to do. Then the senators, it doesn't take up their time either, because the senators that are doing your recon are not the same real senators that are doing the debt ceiling limit. And there you go. All those incredible details. Promise yourself, promise me as well, that you'll do the following 3 things this weekend and starting today. 1, get AOC, Omar, Jalapa, and Pelosi's phone numbers ready for you to call next week. You need to advocate for stimulus before the bill is released, after the bill is released, before the vote, and after the vote on the House side. You need to advocate. Number 2, I want you to reach out to those 5 nonprofits. If you've gotten $20 from this channel, $20,000 from this channel, $100,000 from this channel. If you're a Lorraine at $105,000, if you're Mark at $50,000, if you're Johnny at $80,000, if you're someone else who got $3,000 from the channel, I want you to get more money. I want you to lean on the nonprofits, and I want you to use this extra cash infusion of third stimulus. I want you to get money as far as you can go into early 2022. I want you to get rent and utilities paid as far as you can into 2022. It's a great time to do it right now because it's not the winter months yet. The nonprofits have a lot of money, and there's no surge of calls upon them because people need heating oil and their water's about to, and they're freezing cold. We're not in the winter months now. Now's a great time. They have a lot of resources, not a lot of calls. And not a lot of and the third stimulus, that $13 billion is laying right now. So I want you to get this money for your rent, utilities, as far as you can take it into the future. Make a mark on the calendar. See how far you can get it paid. And then finally, I want you to get ready to get the big money for third stimulus, more money for rent as well. Coming up next is the 1 o'clock show for Afternoons LA. Then we're back with the the new afternoon show at 3 o'clock. This video will automatically take you to the first one, the 1 o'clock show. Then I'm back with you at Evenings LA at 5, and then shows at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11:30 as well. So with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000 to 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful day, and stay with LA for more.